What's up, everybody? This is once again the Dearly Deep Heart Ed podcast. I decided to go live on my Instagram only because last week when I was doing my video, I was recording on my iPad and I didn't realize how much stuff I have saved on it. So there was no more space. So it recorded a good amount. Then it just cut off. So anyway. I'll just save the video from this time and upload it. But anyway, this time around, just want to start off with, just a few topics. I want to talk about, exes, of course, jealousy in relationships, threesomes, casual hookups, stuff like that. And also I watch some movies and TV shows, so I'm gonna just jump right into it. So I was watching this video with Russell Brand. If you don't know him, I don't know why you wouldn't know him, but he did some movies back in the day. I don't really recall any of the names of the movies, but I know it was famous. And he kind of stopped, acting, and I think he started writing, stuff like that. And then he just started doing a lot of speaking and stuff. But anyway, yeah. I was watching a YouTube video, and he basically was talking about how to get over your ex. So of course I'm just scrolling, and I see that, it was in my YouTube feed. So I was like, all right, let me see what Russell Brand would have to say about that. He's obviously a millionaire, celebrity, famous. Sometimes we forget that celebrities actually have lives, outside of the movies or shows or music that they do. So, I never really thought about, somebody being heartbroken, the way that I've been, heartbroken. Even though artists always make songs, about heartbreak, you just kind of see them move on and, they're back in other relationships. Now, yes, I'm an artist and I have a whole entire album based on the love I had for my ex. So, but I'm still not over her. So there's a difference, I guess. But what he said a lot. I'll say that. He said a lot, but one thing that stood out was he actually said, your ex is an illusion. And so that definitely spoke to me. Now, what I took from that meaning, your ex is an illusion, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but what I took from it is that your past is an illusion. And I've said this myself. I guess I've just never really, put it in the context of my ex. Your ex is an illusion. Your past is an illusion. It's no longer here. It may even feel real, but you can't go back to it. You can't see it anymore. And what you are seeing is a dream, or it's something that you're projecting with your mind. That's not real anymore. So it's an illusion. That is what an illusion is. Let's look it up. I'm good for that. I haven't done it in a while because, I haven't been that much on this, but illusion, a misleading image presented to the vision, an optical illusion, something that deceives or misleads intellectually, a perception of something objectively existing in such a way as to cause misinterpretation of its actual nature. That, I'm sorry, that's powerful. So anybody, dwelling in the past, just know that whatever you're thinking about, whatever you're missing is no longer real. So that really spoke to me because I believe that I've been stuck seeing an illusion. Even when we were together, I completely made up in my mind, based on a certain reality, but I made up in my mind what I wanted this relationship to be. And so after the relationship ended, I continued to make up what I wanted this relationship to be. I often fantasize about her just showing up because that's what she used to do. And I don't mean like in the sense of, while we're not talking. I mean like would just, knock on my window some nights. You sleep, maybe it's 11, maybe it's 12, maybe it's 1. You sleep, then all of a sudden you get a knock on your window. Like that was one of the some of the most amazing times to me when I would just hear that knock. Like maybe I was expecting her, maybe I wasn't, but when it would happen, it would just be like, oh, it was like relief, like she's here. Oh my God, this is amazing, right? So hearing those words, your ex is an illusion, I just felt like that was, come on now, that was powerful to me. It just stuck with me. I had to write it down. So yeah, you just get to a point where, you're basically making up things like, I still want her, so I want her to come back one day. I want to text her one day and she texts right back. But that's an illusion. That's not going to happen, but I see it happening. My ex is an illusion. So with that said, I'll say, I've spoken a lot about reaching back out to people, and I have to admit, once again, I believe I mentioned it in last week's episode, but I didn't really elaborate. Not sure if she even still listens to this podcast at all, but I did reach out to Chanel, and something very strange happened. She sent me, a message back, letting me know that she had done something good, something cool or whatever, as far as her brand. So, I congratulated her and I let her know, like, hey, I'm still here, if you need me for anything. And she said, thank you. And she also said, plus, of course, I need you. And she didn't just say thank you, she said, thank you, darling. So with all that happened, everything I talked about on here, to hear that come from her, what do you think I thought? I thought, hey, maybe we can still be cool. Maybe we can, continue our friendship. Maybe we can continue to work together. But then, I said, of course, I need you back. And then I jokingly said, it's funny how saying I need you back can have a double meaning. And what I meant by that double meaning is, of course, if you had someone, you need them back. But what I actually meant was this other meaning, as in I also need you, like for business purposes, because again, I've said this numerous times, I think she's amazing at what she does as far as her visual arts and the music she plays, and her voice and how she speaks. And I believe she's a great writer as well. I believe she's a great speaker as well. I believe she's very knowledgeable. So that's actually what I meant. She didn't respond. Then I wrote, so when can we start, or when should we start? Nothing. So, hey, shame on you if you fool me once. Shame on me if you fool me twice, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, 20th times, right? Do I feel fooled? No, not really. I just realized that that's just how some people are. That's just how some people are, evasive or busy. Whatever it is, it's no longer my issue. Even if she still needed something from me, I wouldn't. There's no reason for me to be upset. So it is what it is. I'll just not reach out until I want something from her, and that's just a little bit of attention every once in a while. If she says something to me before then, cool, great. You know, I'd love that. I'd love to continue to have conversations with her. I missed even that brief interaction, you know. But moving forward, I'd been writing in my group. I've been writing in my group, Dearly Deep Heart Id, on Facebook, and so we started getting into some conversations about, basically jealousy within relationships. But to be more specific, we all are using, social media. So a lot of times we just invite people who we don't even, actually know. So that person may actually not know that you're in a relationship, right? So what happens when that person? I mean, I add beautiful women all the time on my Facebook. Sometimes I do the little wave. Sometimes I don't say nothing ever. But what happens is I like a lot of their pictures just because it's just passing time. Ultimately, that's all we're really doing. It's just passing time. I mean, I watched The Social Dilemma or whatever it's called, on Netflix, which basically talked about how social media was designed to, continuously make us want to come back. And I understand the good and the bad of social media. Like, I understand, like, getting addicted to it, can get you distracted and you can lose focus and you can also get depressed. But I believe you can also learn a lot. So, knowledge isn't power. Knowledge used is power. So if you're on Google, if you're in groups, if you're talking to smart people, if you're learning a new trade from YouTube or, commenting and having discussions and you're actually using that stuff, great, fantastic. But if you're just blindlessly, aimlessly scrolling, liking, which we're all, guilty of, that's when it becomes more of a problem, when you can't put your phone down. I have ran into that my whole entire social media, having a smartphone life. You sometimes have to force yourself. But ultimately, my biggest issue isn't just wanting to see what's happening on there. I'm always holding my phone because I'm always waiting on a response from a message that I've sent out. And now that I don't really have anybody like that, I'm starting to put my phone down a lot more. I'm starting to be able to consciously put my phone down and watch or engage in a TV show or a conversation that I'm having a lot easier now, because I'm not always holding my phone anymore. I realized a little while ago that a lot of shows and movies that I watched, I really didn't get what was going on. Like, I got the gist of it, you know what I'm saying? Like, the big events that would happen, I would get that. But when I rewatch certain things now, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I had no idea. I didn't know, you know what I'm saying, that this person said that. And what I found is it could be just a few seconds of picking up my phone and looking at it and then putting it down, and you miss so much. Like, I was watching something with my son, and he laughed at something or he reacted to something, and then I'm like, what? And he was like, you didn't hear that? And I was like, okay, I guess not. So we rewinded it, and I was just like, oh shoot, like, no, I didn't even hear him say that, So that made me again realize I missed a lot just from, not from holding my phone. From holding my phone, I missed a lot of things. So, like, even I can even admit, like, in meetings and stuff like that, in person, it's a lot easier to put your phone down because it's viewed as being disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? And you probably won't get fired, but your manager might test you, like, what did you get from the meeting? If you don't know, what I'm saying, that's going to look bad on you. But at home meetings, you know what I'm saying, like, I had to start not even having my phone next to me because, again, I'm waiting for a text to come back. I sent something before, I'm waiting on a message to come back. So now I just throw the phone behind me and it lands on the bed, and I try my hardest not to look at it, because I want to stay focused. But anyway, I said all of that to say, you add a lot of people that you do not know. So a lot of times when I'm waving at these women or saying hi, flirting under the page. I don't know that that they're in a relationship, whether it's marriage or not, or just just a boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance. I don't know a lot of times. So the question I basically posed was, to some of the women in my group, well, because the guys don't really respond to anything. I just wanted to know, like, would you be upset, or would you have a reaction, or would you have any concern if you saw a bunch of messages on your partner's page coming from. See, I'm looking at my phone right now, but I'm good, right? I'm still talking to y'all. I mean, I actually just stopped myself. But anyway, would you have any concern if you started seeing, like the same one or two women always posting or always liking under your partner's, pictures? You know what I'm saying? Which can be looked at as flirting, or it could just be like innocent. You see something you like it. That's what the like button is for. It doesn't discriminate on who's in a relationship or not, right? It's like I see something, I like it. But a lot of the women said, no, they wouldn't have any concern, which I think is a good answer. Like, you shouldn't be concerned. But then I said, what if the guy just ignores it and never says anything? That's what I would do. Let's just get that out. If I'm in a relationship and I have an attractive woman, commenting or liking all of my pictures, I'm just taking that as flattery. I still got it. Cool, great. Because when I'm in a relationship, and if you ever get to talk to my ex, you will know. She will let you know that she was my world. We had one little situation one time, which I already discussed on this podcast, but we were kind of already breaking up in the relationship. We were actually broken up in the relationship, and I wasn't getting something from her. So I was flirting a little bit to kind of ease that, but I was never planning on actually stepping outside of my relationship, but she found out. My bad, but again, we weren't together. She was more concerned with if I was messing around or sleeping with somebody else. So, let her know, no, I'm not, and I really wasn't. Still to this day, I've never cheated on anyone. But I've also only had 2 real relationships. Who knows? But anyway, yes, I would just ignore it, because what am I supposed to say? Like, you can't make somebody stop posting. Yeah, you can embarrass them, but I don't want to do that either. So it's just like, it's whatever. You can like anything you want. I don't care. Go right ahead. I don't have to respond. And if I do respond, I said that I would just say straight up, hey, I'm in love with my woman. And if she continues, that's on her. That's her continuing to hurt herself, right? So, ultimately only a few people responded, but still it was the same answer ultimately. Like, no, I wouldn't be concerned if some woman was commenting. But at some point, if my guy didn't actually, respond and say, hey, stop, then someone said that they would have a concern. That's a no-no. But I think she still understood what I was basically saying. Like, yeah, I'm not. It is what it is. She can say all she wants to say, right? Signs. So, I think that was a good topic that I would like to, have with a bunch of people. Also, in my past relationships, in my first relationship with my son's mom, I was pretty jealous, but the situations garnered jealousy. She was still kind of talking to people when we first met, and she was like really popular. So, guys were still calling, things like that. Once they found out she had someone, then they kind of like did it a little bit less. But since someone were just friends, they continued. And there was even a time where, one guy she was talking to, she actually had met a little bit before she met me, and they had already planned to see each other in like a month or so, right? So I think, I don't know if he had already bought his ticket, but, they had already planned this before I became, I was in the picture. So me and my first girlfriend, we started living with each other after like a month. Actually, we started seeing each other. I'll say we started seeing each other every day after the first time we actually hung out overnight. And then after about a few weeks, we basically, I just wasn't going home anymore. And then after a month, I had stuff at her house because also I wasn't working. I was on, disability, so I had time. But anyway, he did eventually come, and yeah, I was sick. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, what the F? Because I let her choose. You know what I'm saying? Like, if y'all already planned this, I don't want you to hang out with him. But I think I've said this before on the podcast, not sure, but that's also why I no longer listen to Remy Shand, because my CD was in her room, and she told me he saw that CD. Now, I'm going to be real. I don't remember if he saw it in her room or he saw it downstairs. So I don't know if they went to the room or not. That's none of my concern, and I honestly don't care anymore, which I've actually finally, like a little while ago, a few months ago, I finally have been able to listen to songs from Remy Shand, because I was just so sick when it happened. I was like, oh, it was tainted. She was like, he saw it or he picked it up and he recognized this artist. And I was like, no, I'm cool. And I really in real life didn't listen to that guy never again. And I'm talking about, this relationship was now, my son's 13. So yeah, 13, 14 years. Or more like 15, because we didn't have him until 2 years after. So yeah, 15 years I didn't listen to that CD. I don't know where it is now, but I listened to it on Spotify finally because I really don't care anymore. I'm not saying it took that long to get over it, but I'm saying I just now listened to it for the first time recently because of that situation. So I could definitely be jealous in a relationship with my current ex, if that makes any sense at all. I used to joke around with her, but I was kind of serious because I loved her this much. She used to tell me about guys that she, dated in high school, or, guys she might have liked in elementary school and stuff like that. And I was jealous. And I know that's not even possible because I wasn't even around. But I was actually jealous when she would tell me. I'd be like, I don't want, I wish that I could have been that guy. Even in high school, even in middle school, even in elementary, I wish I would have known you. And I used to tell her, like, even though she's, a little bit younger than me, I used to tell her if I knew her in high school, I definitely probably would have had a crush on her. We're 3 years apart, but still, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just something about her. Even if we would have just been really close friends and, got older, I think I still would have been on her. So, yeah, I've definitely been jealous. But, honestly, I think it's reasonable. There's reasonable jealousies in relationships, and there's, non-reasonable. Mine was kind of, non-reasonable because I wasn't there. I didn't know her, but I was still jealous. But whatever. It's what it is. Now, if I was in a relationship, depends on who it is. If it was with my ex, to be honest, as much as I love her, as much as, it would seem like I don't trust her, I would still trust her, and I wouldn't care. There probably wouldn't be a lot of jealousy if I was back in a relationship with her. It probably would be like, if we really get back together, hey, you go do whatever you want, and I really wouldn't care. No, of course, no man wants to be cheated on, and if he is cheated on, he doesn't want to know anything about it on some Mario Winans. I don't want to know. I don't want to know nothing like that. But at this age, I feel like we're grown, we're adults. People are going to do whatever they want to do. I can't stop you from doing anything you want to do. Like, if you say you love me and you rocking with me and we doing things together and we're good, hey, is what it is. You know what I'm saying? If you decide to step out, I've said this before, that's on you. That's on your conscience. And if you don't have a guilty conscience about it, you don't care. And I never find out who is it really hurting. It's not. As long as you're not bringing home no disease, you know what I'm saying, or getting weird phone calls all night long, nothing strange like that. It is what it is. And that's the truth. I just feel like you never know what somebody's doing when they're not with you. I've said that before too. So, but if it was somebody else, they're getting dumped right away. I'm not with it. Not only that, but I don't think I can really fall in love with somebody else in this moment in time. But if I did and I found out there's something like that was going on, or talking to another dude, no, you know what? I'll take that back. I probably wouldn't care, but I still would be like, I don't like you anymore. Like, I whatever. I don't like you anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like you've already exhausted, you know, your points, so to speak. I don't like you anymore. Like I don't have to put up with that. You know what I'm saying? If you like somebody else, go get that somebody else. I don't think I can even be heartbroken anymore. You know, I don't know if that's even possible. But my ex did have, a guy best friend who actually at some point did actually love her. Blah blah blah. But I didn't care. You know what I'm saying? She assured me that she didn't have those same feelings for him, and I was over it. So another thing we talked about is casual hookups and threesomes. So again, this one actually did get quite a few responses. And ultimately, again, the women said the same thing, which is good. It was good knowledge. They were basically saying, come at me honest and open and for real. Only one person added, that doesn't mean you're going to win. But, I'd respect it more if you just said what it is you want straight from the gate. And I had no problem with that because that's what I do anyway. If you know me and you're listening to this, you know that from the jump, I'm letting you know. This ain't nothing serious. Come through. If not, we don't got to talk. And it is what it is. Boom. And what was actually surprising, though, is a lot of women made it seem like dudes normally don't do that. And I've heard that a lot. It's always like a guy, lies first to get what it is he wants from them, which I think is absolutely horrible. But I know why some men do that. It's because what I kind of responded with, a lot of times a guy can be upfront with a woman, and even if, it's not disrespectful what he's saying, she still takes it as disrespectful. Like he's saying something, like horrible to her by saying, hey, I don't want a relationship, but I wouldn't mind, having a sexual relationship. That's not disrespectful. That is the honesty that you're asking for. And a lot of times, I didn't say this on the post, but a lot of times it's because the guy's not really that attracted to you. And mostly it's physical, but sometimes it's physical and, mentally attracted, emotionally attracted to you. He's not that attracted to you, that's why he's like, she looked good enough to do it to. You know what I'm saying? Like she looked good enough to have sex with. So, that's all I want from her. But we don't do that with every woman. There's women that I see that I'm like googly eyed over, like, man, I really wouldn't mind knowing her. I wouldn't mind taking her on a date one day. And then there's the ones who is just like, she's a throwaway. And when I say throwaway, all I mean is, you know what I'm saying, have sex a few times and then you're done with them. Not physically throw them out, nothing like that. Just that's the value that we see from you right away. Right away. And with that said, it's also hard if I do look at you as someone who is very attractive, or not someone who's attractive, but someone who I think is just like, okay, good enough to, you fall in the category of just sex category. It's really, for me personally, it's really hard for you to jump out of that to where I'm like, okay, she's not that attractive, but she's really cool and smart, so I'll be with her. Like that's never happened to me. That's never happened. But that's always also been one of my things is, if I'm talking to a woman on an app or something like that, or just texting, and sorry, I bit some of my lip off, dry lips, but still juicy though. But no, if I'm talking to a person online or texting or whatever, and the conversations normally start off with just some regular, hey, what's up, how you doing, how was your day, cool, what's on your mind, what are you talking to, it kind of sometimes goes into sex. And then when they start talking back, they want this and they talking that, and they getting freaky and nasty and stuff like that too. I've had times where they are like, well, that's all you want to talk about. Yeah, first off, yes, you're absolutely right. But also, if you were that interesting, you could change my you could change my conversation. You could change the conversation if you were really interesting. You could say something cool enough to make me be like, "Oh, okay, now I see some depth. Now I see some depth." But a lot of times, I think either they don't know how to do that or they're just not that interesting. And that's fine because somebody's going to be interested in you. There's a lot of uninterested people in relationships right now. Uninteresting people in relationships right now. I mean, and who am I to talk about anybody? Maybe I'm just not that interesting. I'm not in a relationship. Every time I start talking to somebody, that I think has some potential, they either just stop talking or, something happens. It just doesn't work out. So, you know, with that being said, also, casual hookups didn't it. A lot of women I talked to, or that responded, were like they're just not into it. They're just not into casual situations, which again is very understandable. Women think a little bit different than guys. But also, I've said this before in the past, I feel like there's a certain type of woman who is totally interested in just hooking up. I've met them. Thank you. There's also women who, may not be sure. I've met them too. And then there's the women who are just like, nah, like if we're not dating, then I have no sexual feelings towards you at all. And even if I do, I'm not going there and that's fine. You know what I'm saying? So that was kind of, that's what I got from that. But and then, I had to up it up a little bit. So a little while ago, what I'm referring to her as an old flame, someone who I cared for a lot at one time. Didn't get into a relationship, but we had our good times or whatever. We started, texting back and forth for a while or whatever. And then she mentioned having a threesome. So I'm like, oh yeah. She's like, find somebody. So I'm like, man, come on now. We can't even go outside without our mask on. So how am I gonna see somebody to find somebody for a threesome? And nobody I know right now would want to have a threesome. Like they all say the same thing. And plus, she said find a bad chick. She actually said find a bad B. Anyway, none of the women I know are down with any of that. So I got on some apps real quick and matched with a few that were down, but oddly enough, they start talking, they start doing their thing. Then all of a sudden, you just don't hear from them no more. Like, what's going on? I thought you was with it. So there's one now that's saying that she's like down or whatever, but they become very like shy or evasive. So I started asking my group also, what do you think about threesomes? And a few of the women are saying like, yeah, they've had threesomes before or whatever. They did it for the guy and stuff like that. But I wanted to know because this person I'm telling you about, yes, she wanted a female male, you know, female male female threesome, FMF as they call it nowadays. But she also mentioned having a MFM, two guys type threesome. And I'm like, hold up. We got to get some things straight first. One, I don't trust no dudes that I don't know, especially in that vulnerable type situation. So I was like, you know, if it just so happens to come, get down like that, cool. But the guy cannot be into guys, cannot be open to it or nothing because I'm not. And then I also said it can't be any exes. She kind of jokingly said why with an LOL, but I'm like because like I wouldn't trust your ex. You know what I'm saying? Like he might try to get me or something like that. Like I don't know, especially if it's going down at my house. Like I don't want that to happen. So again, the group consensus was yes, they've had them, and surprisingly, but not surprisingly, the women they really want that. A few times they said they want, two guys in the bed. and it just hasn't happened yet. But they often fantasize about it. I'm like, I've heard that before, but it's like that seems like that could happen very easy if you actually wanted it. So, what do y'all think? What do you think? Um, what I like I told my old flame, like, I don't know about all of that, but hey, I said I would do whatever it is, that to make you happy. But at the same time, I'm not necessarily with that. Who knows? I'll let you know if it happens. Wink. Um, yes, I'm recording. Okay. Um, so what I actually wanted to move on to now is I'll just, because there's not really too much to say about any of that. I think we've been going a good amount of time right now. But hit me in the comments about it though. You can always do that. But anyway, movies and TV. So recently I've watched I watched um The Devil All the Time with quite a few actors, but the one I know, Tom Holland and Robert Pattinson. So that's Spider-Man and Batman in the same movie. Also, Sebastian Stan was in that movie. So we got Spider-Man, Batman, and Winter Soldier all in the movie. And I'm pretty sure there's probably another superhero face in that movie. But it's a down south type movie, small town type thing. And I'm not gonna give it away, but I would just like to say, loved it. It was great acting. It was pretty amazing, to be honest. The story was good. Um, I'm not gonna say too much because it's one of those where you just can't tell. Um, but a lot was going down. I liked it. Then I started watching Ratchet, which I actually just finished. Um, Ratchet was actually really really good. I mean, for a TV show, never watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. I never even knew what that movie was about or book was about. But once I saw this was going to be a kind of like a, you know, I don't know if it's a prequel, but I know it's basically based on the nurse that was in that book, Nurse Ratchet. Um, a lot was going on that one too. I would definitely recommend it. I would definitely recommend it again. I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I mean it's wild. It's crazy. Um, yeah, I think, to be honest, I'll say this one thing: they really focus on mental health and some of the you know so-called cures that they used to have back in the day to try to heal you from things, you know, mentally health related, but we really don't look at as mental illnesses now. So yeah, watch that one. Get shocked. You be on the edge of your seat too, trying to figure out what's going to happen. I mean, even in the description it says gore, so just warning you. But then Antebellum. So I watched Antebellum as well, and all I'd really say about that, without giving too much away, is it was like watching The Twilight Zone. I did like it, and I just wanted more. I just wanted more from it. Like, it was good. The acting was good. Very realistic. Uh, but it was just, I wanted more story. I'll just say that I wanted more story from that. And then, I'm not saying, when I say this, I'm not saying there should be a part two, or it ended like it should be a part two, or it didn't end like it should be a part two. I wanted a part two. I want part two. I want to see more of this world, so to speak. So, anyway, I think that's about it. I think I covered a little bit. Hopefully got a little deeper, as I've been trying to say. Um, oh yeah, I started pushing my book again. So still go to Amazon, Look up Novella Noir by Deontay Young. Sometimes and Forever. Novella Noir, Sometimes and Forever. Deontay Young. Look that up. Get it on Kindle for $4.99. Get it hardcover, $7.07. If you like me enough, you can just send me money and I'll send you a copy. Whatever you want to do. But yeah, check out that. Also, get on Facebook and look for the group. I had to make it private because of some of the conversations that started to take place. But hey, it is what it is also. What else? I don't know. I think that's it. I did it again. Oh yeah. I texted my ex today too. I was a little tipsy though, so I will blame it on that. I said something like, "I wish I could hold you." And then I quoted something from Neil Strauss. And it's not even really relevant to anything except for the last part. I basically said there's a quote from Neil Strauss, author of The Game and the Truth, and this was from his ex-girlfriend, who is now his wife. She says, because she knew, and I'll give you the context. He was, I wouldn't say he was wild, but he became a pickup artist, like a professional pickup artist. Like he could basically get any girl. He describes himself as not being the most attractive, but he could basically pick up any girl with the skills that he learned from being in this underground pickup artist PUA club or whatever you want to call it. So anyway, that ultimately led to, him breaking up with the love of his life. So anyway, she says, "You are like a bird in a cage looking out the window. I must let you fly and be wild. But birds die in the wild." And so I said, I feel like I'm that bird sometimes without you. Now, I could be wild. I've done my thing, but that part didn't really have anything to do with how I was feeling. It all had to do with, letting me fly, and then, birds die in the wild. Like, I feel like she let me go, which obviously I wish she wouldn't have let me go. And birds die in the wild. Obviously some birds, not all, but whatever. I get what she was trying to say in the text. I mean, in the quote. But some birds die in the wild. The ones that need something that they can no longer have end up dying in the wild, or they just become the wild. And that's the part that I wanted my ex to take away from it. For the most part, I'm good. I'm straight. Getting money. Even when I spend all of it, I know more is coming. I am saving, so that's money that I can't touch. Buying stocks, doing all that cool stuff, but I'm eating good. I'm hiding my stomach right now as we speak on this camera. But I'm saying that to say, like, there are just some nights where I won't say it gets unbearable, but it gets hard to bear. And I miss her, and I end up staying up hours thinking and watching stuff to get my mind off of it, and praying for that miracle sometimes. So that's why I said I feel like I'm that bird sometimes without you. Like, not to be too dramatic, but but birds die in the wild. What I mean is I'm hurting in the wild alone without her sometimes. But that is it for you all. It's the Dearly Deep Heart Id podcast. Get the book, rate, review, subscribe. Yeah. Love y'all. Love, love, love. Peace out. How do I turn this off? We out of here.